Hey, what's up everyone? It's your guy Jesse, not coming back at you with another reaction, but this time around I am going to be reading and responding to comments. And so I am actually not going to type out the comment. I promise to actually get back to those who I do read the comment and respond verbally. I will come back and actually type out the comment. And so yeah, just something, a little bit different that I want to do and actually give some feedback verbally. And a lot of you provide so much really awesome information, and many of you are just so kind and encouraging and just say so many beautiful things. And so I definitely want to point out a lot of different comments that I get, and I do like to respond to as many as possible. Like if you go to any of my reactions and look at the comment section, you probably will see me responding to 90 something% of the comments. So this past weekend has been really busy. So and I did upload Revenge of the Sith, and so I've gotten back to quite a few comments, but there's a lot more that I want to get back to, so I promise I will do my best to get back to your comment. And so let's go ahead and actually check out the list of comments here. All right, so here at the very top, someone said, sits on top of Anakin after rolling in the field. Padme, is that your lightsaber, or are you just happy to see me? That's a good one. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Attack of the Clones, they're over there rolling around on the grass, which is crazy to me because she's over there trying to act like she's pushing them away, yet they're over there in that romantic scenery and they're rolling down the grass and she just lands on top of it. Like, come on, man. This next one here is, always love to see reactions to Luke and Leia finding out their brother and sister. Yeah, man. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. Yeah, that was shocking to say the least. And then I just kind of kept telling myself, she kissed him because she was trying to make Han jealous. She kissed him because she was trying to make him jealous. It wasn't a long, passionate kiss. I was trying to convince myself that it meant nothing. And so here, the rest of this is, they seem to ignore it themselves. But when she says, somehow I always knew, it's like, really, did you? Yes, yes, that's the exact same thing I thought. Like when she said that, somehow I always knew. And I think I edited out my response to that moment when she said that in Return of the Jedi. I was like, did you? And I cut that out because it was kind of a serious scene, and I was like, let me leave that out. And then here it says, loved your genuine reaction to the redemption of Vader. It's one of the reasons I'm glad they made the prequel trilogy, to explore how that little boy turned into that evil man. It really helps flesh out his story and helps us see him in a different light. Always appreciate you, Jesse. Thank you so much. That truly means a lot. And yeah, now that I've had a chance to watch all of the prequel films, yeah, that's something that was getting to me, right? We see this kid that has a very good heart and wants to do good things and wants to go back and free the slaves and free his mom, and we just see him, his tragic story, and he unravels and he becomes Darth Vader, and we see the terrible lengths, the terrible actions that take place in Revenge of the Sith. And so, something that I've responded to quite a few users already on for Revenge of the Sith is that I guess they really had to go there and do something that would truly show, how evil it did go, how far he did go, right? So we as the audience, I don't know if it was possibly also an attempt for some of us to hate him, but to at least understand, look, it's not like he just, fought some Jedi and killed some Jedi and did some other things, right? It's the younglings. It's like territory that you just do not go to, and they went there. And actually, I liked that they, not that I liked that they went there. It made sense. I liked that they made that risk, that they had the balls to do it. And it wasn't just done for just shock value, and I've responded that to a few people here. It had purpose, right? It propelled the story to, again, let us know he went that evil. You know, he went that far. So, but yeah, Jordan, I thank you so much, you know, for the feedback, man. Let's see here from John Adams. Also, so much symbolism. For example, Mustafar being a hot lava planet literally looked like hell itself. Yes, it represented Anakin descending into hell. Yes, when he looks up at the sun on the planet with a tear in his eye, you see the sunlight blocked by a dark lava cloud. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. That symbolic Anakin's light side being slowly blocked by dark, and the fight with Yoda and Sidious, you know, the Emperor Palpatine, fighting in the Senate room, which was the Republic government. Their fights was destroying the entire room, representing the destruction of their government, literally the new empire. Yes, a lot of symbolism there. I love that you pointed that out. Now, I did call out some of the things on the lava planet, how it looked like it was the end of the world. As I was watching it, things were just falling apart, lava's everywhere. It's like almost like a battle between good and evil. We have, right, Obi-Wan, Ben, who I love to call Ben. You know, he's good on the good side, and Anakin's obviously on, you know, the dark side, the bad side. And it felt like almost like a fight for, you know, like the world is falling apart, and this fight could end up meaning, you know, okay, is it things gonna be turn out good, turn out bad? What kind of path are we gonna get? So here at the end, also, if you recall the music they played at the end of Phantom Menace, the happy song. If you listen to the Emperor's Throne Room theme, it is the same song but played 2 octaves higher, faster, and in its major key. Good catch, good call out. I'm gonna have to check that out. And then here, well, John, I promise I'll get back to your comments, brother. Here's another comment from you, but I'll go ahead and skip to the next one. So this one is actually on the Terminator reaction. So the red-eyed Terminator that massacres the human outpost in the future picture scene is Franco Columbo, Arnold's lifelong friend and fellow Mr. Olympia. Nice. That's awesome. Okay. Very cool. So fellow Mr. Olympia as in, well, I guess he, for some reason right now I thought like co-Mr. Olympia, like they both won it at the same time, but probably around that same time frame, right, that Arnold won Mr. Olympia, which I think he won it several times. So I'll have to look up Franco Columbo. I remember thinking like, hey, this dude is jacked, and I did say, what is this, a knockoff version of Arnold? But nah, this guy's a Mr. Olympia as well, you know. So I guess the Terminators, they just have to, for that, you know, as Kyle Reese mentioned, at first they were rubber, but now they're very difficult to spot. So these new ones that they have to be like these, you know, super strong, tough-looking guys, bodybuilders, essentially. I guess that's to make them more menacing, right, and imposing, which you would think if he or she is a Terminator, they want to, you know, not make him this gigantic, you know, giant of a human being, that they would want them to be almost, you know, just very, you know, in the background, almost like your normal everyday person. But hey. So for the average gamer 1, so to not make a long dragged out explanation, yes, you're right, Anakin's eyes changed because he was fully embracing the dark side. To the extent of enjoying killing the Separatist leaders. Not at the temple, though, as he didn't enjoy nor want to kill the Jedi, but as you said, he wanted to save his wife. Ah, okay. So yeah, okay, so it happened right after he killed the Separatists, right? We see that. And thank you for confirming, you know, that he's being more engulfed by the dark side, so we see that. And you're right, you know, when it was the younglings, I didn't see those eyes. I mean, you saw his face, and he had the stone cold face, but not, you know, those eyes of like representing that he's falling deeper into the dark side. Very cool. From Rodney Ruff, Star Wars symbol was too big, can't see shit. Dude, I agree, brother. I agree with you, man. So let me tell you, I tried to load it up like 10, maybe 15 freaking times, and I kept getting hit with copyright. And so then, you know, I tried doing it with the Star Wars logo, and still wasn't going through. So I was like, what if I make it a little larger? I know, man. I know. And, but, you know, there was a lot of scenes that were getting hit with copyright that I would have had to diminish greatly. And they were like very key scenes. And as you can tell from like the length of my reactions, man, I like to include as much as possible. And even though you guys have seen the films, sometimes I'm like, oh, this was mentioned, and there's this whole sequence of it. Oh, I can't cut that out. It's just too good. And so just wanted to include all that in. But I feel you, man. I agree with you. From Loria Lynn. The best reaction of this movie I've ever experienced. Thanks, man. It was fun. Also, you pointed out a few things I missed. First off, though, the first part of that, I appreciate that, man. That you have no idea, what something like that means to me. And this is fun for me, you guys. I really love doing this. It's so fun to witness these amazing films for the first time, and to also being able to go through the editing process, which sometimes can be pretty long, but still at the end of it, the final product, it's fun, it's awesome, and I really enjoy it, and it means so much to me that you guys are on this journey with me, and that in a way, as many of you have said, it's kind of like you're seeing it for the first time again, right? Like through my eyes, and that really just hits right here, in my heart, so thank you. I really appreciate that. Also, you pointed out a few things I missed. When Star Wars first came out, I went 12 times to see this movie on the big screen, one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Wow, 12 times, dude. I'm a big Dark Knight series fan, and I think I went to go watch The Dark Knight Rises maybe 5 times, 6 times. Only about half of what you did, so that is pretty awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the feedback. This one here, Star Wars changed my life. Like, it's not just a movie, it's a part of life. I saw this in the theater in 2005 when I was 4 years old. And I still never forgot that experience. The music is up there with the best composers of all time. Oh, yes, the music is incredible, man, for Star Wars. A lot of these amazing soundtracks, I've added to my playlist. And I've told you guys that I work out to some of these songs, or I have it playing when I'm working. So I agree, the music on it is just so freaking amazing. And at some point I'm going to sit down and really listen closely to every single score. I don't know, maybe I put together some kind of video where, maybe some kind of ranking on my favorite scores for Star Wars and other films as well. Please do yourself a favor and never watch the Disney sequels that came out in 2015. I wish I couldn't see them. They totally ruined the story and are complete fan service. Your world will definitely be a better place without seeing them. Just cherish these 6 movies right here, please. And so what I'll say is that, I will cherish these. And just to also, just bring an example up. So I've watched, I reacted to the Alien movie in 1979, and then Aliens, a sequel. And I haven't seen anything else after that, and I was just so enamored with the part 1 and part 2, that to me, I want that story to live for a while. I really want it to hit and resonate. Before I move on to those sequels that a lot of people are telling me, oh God, you're gonna be pissed off. And so, I think as a reactor, I want to watch as many films as I can, whether they're good, whether they're bad, whether they're so bad that it's good. And in this case, I will be moving on to watch the future films. And so, just to provide my own insight on it, whether that be good, whether that be bad, whether that be in the middle. But I definitely feel and understand you. As a matter of fact, there are some other films that I've watched and that I grew up with that I even then haven't seen the sequels for. So I get you, because I heard that they were so bad, but. Even with that, even with sequels or series that I hold cherished to my heart, I'm going to end up watching the sequels for. And so here for the Terminator, they say, wait till you see part 2. And as I've mentioned, right, I watched part 2 when I was a kid. This was a good 20, 25 years ago. And so it'll be fun and interesting to me to now watch it and see it with the lens of an adult and see how I kind of take it as a grown-up, especially after, you know, recently watching part 1 for the first time. And so it's gonna be cool to kind of see what that experience is. So I can't wait for that. Here, back with another fire reaction. About to watch the Revenge of the Sith reaction next. So this is Andrew. So I guess he had just watched Attack of the Clones, and so yeah, Andrew, I've seen several of your comments, man. Thank you so much for always giving some awesome feedback and for kind words. I really appreciate you, man. So here, Professor Doom, badass name, dude. Obi-Wan telling Anakin he was his brother is the most tear-jerking thing in Star Wars. That was, oh, bro. His delivery, Ewan McGregor, he brought that character to life, man. So he says, and I went back and watched that scene several times, man, because it was, who was it something? He's, you know, he tells him, right, that, you know, you were the chosen one. It was meant that you were, you know, going to destroy the Sith, not join them. And then he says, you were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. Oh, God. And the way he delivered it, dude, and the look on his face, it's like pain and betrayal. Like, he was so freaking hurt by it. Dude, it's going to start making me feel emotional. But oh, God, so good. So freaking good. And I mentioned this in a comment to someone that, you know, I had been able to comment for the Revenge of the Sith on already, it was so heartbreaking, you know, betrayal, the look of betrayal, you know, on Ben's face. And still in that moment, he's telling Anakin, he's pouring his heart out to him. He's saying, you know what, you're my brother, man, I loved you. To hear that side coming from him, still somehow love. And on the other side, Anakin, hatred, man, pure, utter hatred. And you see it in his eyes, you see it on his face, you hear it in his voice when he says, I hate you. Oh, and you just see how his face looks and his voice, and I think some, you know, like spit came out of his mouth or something when he said that. But dude, he delivered that with some intensity, and still, you know, Ben is just feeling, you know, still some kind of love on the other end, man, because he never wanted that to happen, you know. And earlier he had said, you know, I have failed you, Anakin, I have failed you. That hurts him. He feels like, you know, guilty in a way, and that, you know, his first, right, Padawan, I mean, look what happened, man. And talk about, you know, just it breaking your heart and you feeling like a complete failure and probably being riddled and filled with a lot of guilt as well. And closely followed by Obi-Wan telling Vader he's sorry for everything in the Obi-Wan series. Ooh, a little bit of a spoiler. But I'm going to watch that. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen any of the series. So, you know, I guess I'll wait for that moment. I'll stop reading. I'll respond to your point up to that point, but I will not read the rest in case there are some spoilers. I honestly think the second Terminator is overrated. It's good, don't get me wrong, but the original blows it away. In my top 10 best movies ever. All right. You know, and that'll, you know, so with me checking it out as an adult now, I'll be curious. What if I have that same sentiment? What if I feel that way about it? But, you know, it's, I know it's going to be on a different dynamic because the Terminator, it just being, you know, in my way, and I gave my opinion on it, like a horror film, and in many ways like a slasher on top of that. I mean, you take the weapons out of the Terminator and you give him a knife. He's Jason, man, personified, right? Except I guess he can run. So there we go. But yeah, you know, so who knows, man? Maybe I feel the same way you do, Michael. Thank you for commenting. Appreciate the feedback, brother. Awesome reaction. I'm so happy you didn't fake not knowing the father twist. Makes all your other reactions feel super authentic. And this was for The Empire Strikes Back. And so, yeah, I mean, look, man, you know, one thing I'll say is for so many films, especially some really, you know, big iconic ones, there's things that, you know, seep out into everybody's radar. And look, man, like Darth Vader being Luke's father. Come on, man. If you didn't know that, you've been living under a rock. And not to you know, bash or you know, say anything negative about other reactors, but I'd like to think that, you know, if any of them reacted to this film and they, you know, were shocked or said they didn't know that is true. But who knows, man? Maybe some folks, you know, kind of played up for the cameras. I don't know. But that's something I knew. Come on, man. If you don't know that, then all right. Again, man, maybe you didn't, and maybe you were living under a rock. That's all I'll say about that. Here for Revenge of the Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith Star Wars. I personally love how the multi-dimensions of Anakin's transition from teen to Darth Vader was acted by Hayden. You know what? Yes, I agree with that. So in Attack of the Clones, I felt like some of his moments kind of made me wince a little bit. And so, but we do see, I thought he was way better in Revenge of the Sith. And he had a lot of good moments. So, you know, overall, the performance from Hayden Christensen, I'll have to evaluate it some more, but it's neck and neck. And honestly, at this point, I feel like there's been more bad moments. But let me look at it with a far closer lens and dissect it. And again, I'm going to be doing reviews to the Star Wars films. I'll be ranking them as well. But I love a lot of what he did in Revenge of the Sith. So that actually may outbalance what I didn't like from Attack of the Clones. But he still had some very good moments in Attack of the Clones. I love the moment with his mom that, as you guys saw, that, dude, that made my heart fall down to, like, you know, my gut. It hurt. So here for Revenge of the Sith, great thoughts and reaction. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. For the next one, I believe the Clone Wars are so good it makes Episode 3 a better movie. The final half dozen episodes are so occur at the same time as Episode 3. Okay. All right. And, you know, I've mentioned and I've responded to many of you that I will definitely be watching the Clone Wars. And so I think what I'm going to be doing is I haven't fully decided yet, but I want to start a Patreon. And so I want to, you know, possibly set that up there. It's in, you know, for the Clone Wars. Excuse me, for the episodes there, that'll be free. But the thing is that, you know, I think probably in Patreon they have a little bit more free liberty as far as not getting hit with so many copyrights. I'll still be editing it to a certain amount, and so, but that's probably going to be something that will take up a little bit less time editing, because I do think it's going to probably be a huge kind of time commitment. But I definitely want to give that to you guys. And so, and that'll be free. But just so you know, I'm not spending countless hours and trying to make it to YouTube's liking, you know. Maybe then in the future I edit it some more and I do have it in YouTube in like some kind of like section with all things Star Wars. But let me plan that out some more, guys. But you will get the Clone Wars. Let's skip down a bit. I kind of want to get towards let's see, when some of these older comments for Revenge of the Sith that I want to get to, and I will get to, I promise you. Oh, I got some Jaws ones. So let's see here. 3618 in the book, the reason you hear the mournful wail is because its mate was killed by the shark. This thing was not only a terror to our heroes, but everything in the ocean. So Jaws was a hell of a movie, man. That scared the crap out of me. Like, for many of you that watched it back in the day, a lot of your comments were, you know, how you stayed away from the water forever or for a very long time. And I kind of feel like at some point rewatching that movie and watching it somehow in, you know, in a body of water, you know, whether that's, you know, if I take a vacation with my wife and we happen to be, you know, on the beach somewhere or something like that, and and watching it, I kind of want to do that. So that would be fun. Here for Beetlejuice. Oh, and here, look, I got this mug right here recently. So me and my wife, we went to Home Goods. I saw this, I had to get it. Oh, by the way, guys, also another thing, I watched The Exorcist, like literally, well, I watched it this evening and I finished watching it maybe like an hour ago. So this right here, this video and doing this is kind of helping that get out of my head, because I am going to have some visions and visuals in my mind for a while on that film, and I don't know how I'm going to sleep. I don't know how the hell I'm going to walk through some of the hallways in my house, but so this is kind of helping me get that out of my head a little bit. So here we've got the first time you watch it, you'd usually feel all of these emotions. After you watch it a couple of times, you really do appreciate the story telling of the prequels as a whole. It starts with innocent naivety. Shows to an ego-driven and anxious teenager, and finally a confused and sad young adult. The Clone Wars animated series also adds to the prequels as well. Yeah, you know, I think once you take the, as you mentioned, the prequels as an entire story, it shows us, right? Obviously, pure innocence as a kid. We start seeing that conflict as a teenager, and then him being fully engulfed later on. And for me, I think The Phantom Menace is my least favorite of the prequels, but still, it gave us a good foundation. It served its purpose to set things up at least. Several flaws that, you know, I wish weren't incorporated into the film, but it happened. But still, it fuels that story, and it takes us from A to Z, from Anakin as a kid to Anakin as Darth Vader. So thank you so much, and for Emo EBLK, nice name. You know, thank you for commenting, and I see you interact a lot, and I've responded in the past, so I really appreciate your support. And then several of you here who comments I've already read as well. Several of you comment regularly, and it means so much to me. I love the feedback. I love to learn. I love to hear your side of things. I like, you know, also you guys sharing things that maybe I didn't pick up in my first viewing. And and it was interesting to see someone said earlier that I guess I picked up on some things that they had never noticed. So vice versa, it could happen. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. Yes, and this was to the post that I made, and I made a little custom visual for the great James Earl Jones. And so to me, you know, he was Mufasa, is how I knew him growing up. Just a powerful voice of Mufasa, man, and the perfect casting there. Just like perfect casting here for Darth Vader, man. What a powerful, amazing, beautiful voice. That it's so crazy, because I guess when you think about it, the voice of Mufasa, this amazing, you know, just amazing father first off, and a great leader for his pride, and gives such beautiful advice to Simba when he's young. So seeing, you know, him as a, you know, call it the ultimate good guy, you know, one of the ultimate good guys in Disney animation, and then Darth Vader, like the ultimate, or one of the ultimate villains, dude. He's, rest in peace, James Earl Jones, man. You know, would have been great to somehow, some way had met you, and you know, just touched, you know, and inspired so many people, millions, billions around the world. So Rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace. And one or a couple more comments here. So from Ghost Watcher, and yeah, I've seen several of your comments, man. I love your comments, dude. So here he said 5340 women drivers, am I right? Question mark, the Terminator. Just kidding, ladies. I think I know, dude. I think I know the part you're talking about. Because of the timestamp and because I got pissed off at this moment. I think you're talking about when Sarah Connor rolled the truck over, right? They had just fucking gotten away from the Terminator, dude. Like, he was out and they could have just kept driving. And at that point, how it'd have been very difficult for the Terminator to find them, right? Because now they'd have been even more careful, and then there's no connection to her mom anymore, because that's how he had found them. He had broken into the cabin. Scariest scene in the movie for me. But yeah, then she freaking flips the car over when they were just about to be home free. So I get it. And he said, just kidding, ladies. So Ghost Watcher is just kidding, you know. But here's the thing, man. My wife, sometimes when we're driving, yeah, there's been a few times where she goes over that curb, man. Or a few times, and then she giggles, she does something and it's like he, like she just didn't, like, now I gotta go check the freaking rim. And other times that she's just tailgating someone, or is just too close, or just brakes too fast, man. And then I'm like, I'm driving. Here, another Beetlejuice comment. So, from what I've heard, most of Beetlejuice's lines were improvised. Even funnier is that the Model tree was not supposed to fall over when he kicked it. Yeah, really? That's awesome, dude. It was also awesome that Beetlejuice's actor Michael Keaton went straight to playing Batman after this movie under the same director. You're right. Again, I'm a Batman fan. My first Batman was 1989, and this was 88. That is insane. That man is amazing. Like, you would think, right? Like, Batman? Him? And you know what? One of my top two Batmen. I'll do a ranking. I don't want to say, yeah, I'll get to that. I don't want to give away. But yeah, I love him as Batman. Bruce Wayne and Batman. So it's crazy that he had, he has that skill set, man. He is so versatile as an actor. He's hilarious. He can play drama. He can play crazy. He can do all of it, dude. And that's cool that the model tree fell when he kicked it. I guess he wasn't expecting that. I'll have to watch that moment back. So that's funny. 717, a man who understands the assignment. I'll have to check that out, Chance. I responded to I believe one of your comments, another one of your comments on Revenge of the Sith, and I will get to all your comments, brother. You have my word. So this one, a long comment. Let me just read at least the first part here. The most hurtful moment for me was seeing Anakin abandon his good buddy R2 before ripping the Separatist to shreds. Though most often you hear there's too many of them, what are we going to do? Or you were my brother Anakin, I loved you. So first off, yes, you're right, man. When Anakin he tells R2, you stay here, right? Stay with the ship. You're right, man. Like I said, oh, R2. And, you guys pointed out that R2's mind wasn't wiped. And, and when I was editing, I caught that. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it was just 3PO. So R2, man, he has seen so much and remembers so much. And it's all in his memory. Oh, and I love him. I love R2. Droid-wise, man, he's my favorite droid. If I could have a wingman, at my side, it would be R2, because he saved the day, man. I had someone leave a comment somewhere, and they were like, R2 is the main character. Dude, yes, R2. I love him, man. I love him so much. And I felt bad for him throughout times here in this film, because there was a moment when Anakin gets back to Padme, and R2 and 3PO have an exchange, and 3PO has a response like something about he's under a lot of stress. And I saw someone's comment as well, like it's kind of explaining that. But in the film, when I watched it, I said, "Oh man, is he like saying something to like 3PO? Like, hey man, like something's wrong with Anakin. Like something's going on." And then that's 3PO's response. Someone had left a comment saying, "Well, it's sort of like, yeah, we don't understand what R2's saying, but it's sort of like, what if he had said something like, I don't know what's going on. He won't talk to me." Like your comment, dude, made my heart drop even more. Like what if that was his words? Like, he's not talking to me. I don't know what's going on. Dude. Yeah, I love R2, man, and he's such and in the beginning of the film, well, you know how much Anakin like cares about him. He's like, Anakin's defending R2 because Ben was saying something like, oh, R2 this, that, and then I think Anakin was like, no loose wires jokes, okay? And then he was like, he's trying. He was defending him. That's his buddy. And it goes back to the originals, right? The A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and R2's right there. And I don't know, does he know that's Anakin behind that? Can he feel it somehow? And so here, this will be my final comment here that I look at. So let's see. Bro, I wanted to reach through the screen and give you a hug. And this is to the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith reaction. I feel your pain. Although I knew the backstory of Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader, seeing it happen on the big screen left me shell-shocked for days afterward. Every time I rewatch Revenge of the Sith, I keep hoping for a different outcome. And then, I wanted to address some points as they played out. Originally, the rescue of Chancellor Palpatine sequence was nearly an hour long. General Grievous' cough was sampled by George Lucas himself, who had been suffering with a terrible cold while directing the film. And I will respond to your comment and address these different points. And just here at the start, thanks, man. This was a painful film to watch. Yeah, it like I said it did break me, like I said in the title, man. And thank you. I would gladly accept the hug. And you said, you felt my pain. Yeah, it was painful. It was very painful to see this, and a lot of sequences and a lot of moments. And just because also you think about the original trilogy and what he ends up going through. I'm talking about Anakin, Darth Vader, and the years, man, because it's 20 plus years. Luke is in his 20s, so he went through this. He suffered, and he was filled with so much anger and hate for that long that it just completely destroyed him. And we see his burnt face, right? We see his burnt face in Revenge of the Sith, and then we see it later in Return of the Jedi. And I mentioned in my reaction there, kind of in the post review / analysis, that Anakin in the older version of Anakin in Return of the Jedi, he looked tired. Like, we saw that he's completely beat up, obviously, because he's burnt. But behind that, behind the makeup, his eyes, the way his face kind of like drooped down, he was tired. He had suffered so much. And it was just someone who was completely broken. And you're right, man. Watching this and knowing what's ultimately gonna happen, because we know the path, because of the original trilogy, we just hope for a different outcome, man. But we know ultimately what's gonna happen, And so, yeah, I just wanted to share a couple of comments with you guys and everything that I read, and kind of give a verbal response for. I will go back and actually leave a comment on this, you guys, and I promise I will get back to as many of you as possible. Again, I want to give you guys content, so this requires, right, watching the film, editing the film. So if it were up to me, I'd get back to every single comment, but I want to continue to keep, you know, the content coming to you guys. And so if I, you know, happen to not get back to you, you know, thank you so much for your feedback. It means so much to me. I do read every single comment, and I really appreciate your support. And trust me when I say that so many of your comments make my day over and over and over again. And I love you guys. And I'm going to be doing this for a very long time. So I will see you guys in the next video. This helped to kind of relieve some of those terrifying visuals from The Exorcist. You guys will have that reaction here in probably less than a week or so. You'll get another reaction before that. But that one, then that other one will be coming. So thank you guys so much. Please keep the feedback coming, and I will see you guys in the next video.